Welcome in, race fans, to another night of top-tier Tricia's Learning Center Gen 4 Series Racing right here on the Royalty Racing Network. I'm going to be your host tonight. I go by the name of Brandon Massey. And tonight, the spotlight shines on one of NASCAR's most iconic battlegrounds, Darlington Raceway. The track too tough to tame, and it's going to be a fun night. I can just tell you, there's not going to be another stop like this one on the schedule. It's throwback night. The drivers of Tricia's Learning Center Gen 4 Series are rolling out retro paint schemes, honoring the legends who built the sport. And I'm excited to see that. From bold colors to classic numbers, tonight is all about history meeting horsepower. Last week at Chicagoland, we'd seen Dylan Canova put together a commanding drive to score his what would be third win of the season. But Darlington is a whole different beast. Momentum can vanish with just one brush of the wall. The 1.366-mile egg-shaped oval challenges every driver, tight in one end, wide in the other, and the outside wall is waiting to hand out the famous Darlington stripe. Precision and patience will be separate the contenders from pretenders tonight. Strap in, it's old school racing under the lights where power, grit, and a little bit of nostalgia takes center stage as these drivers are getting ready for qualifying here in the top tier Racing League Tricia's Learning Center Gen 4 Series. Right now, the points is as followed. You can see right there on the screen, Christian Proctor still holds the lead coming into tonight at Darlington. Nick Ruffini, just 20 points behind him, is keeping the pressure on. Jake Handlovic, he's right there in third, just about 5 points behind Ruffini. JD Van Kirk, I know we have a lot of JD Van Kirk fans up in the chat right now. Solid top 5 finishes, keeps him within a title hunt. Rounding out the top 5 is going to be Kenneth Kuko. You can see he's got 2 wins this season, and he needs a strong finish to close the gap as we head in to the playoffs. Dylan Canova coming off of what would be his third win of the season and a big win last week at Chicagoland does have some momentum on his side. Jorge Ledesma Jr., sitting currently 7th, is starting to climb himself through the ranks. Robert Altman right there in the 8th position is within striking distance of the top 5. He's not too far off. David Shively right now needs a breakout run to move into the top 8 with Zach White holding on to the 10th position. That will be the points heading into tonight. Right now we're going to take a look at the schedule. This is the last regular season race that we have here in the Tricia's Learning Center Gen 4 Series, as next week we will be starting our championship run, and we're going to do that right from the hills of Michigan. And then from there, we're going to move on to Road America to what will be the lone road course in the championship hunt. And then once we finish out the Road America race, we're going to move to the home of NASCAR, where we're going to head to Charlotte, and then we're going to follow it up for the most exciting race that people will absolutely love. I think Bristol's going to be a really good show for the Gen 4 car when we're going to roll in to the Thunderdome, the last great Coliseum, Bristol Motor Speedway. And then we're going to head out west, where these drivers will be rolling the dice and seeing what wild card comes up, because we're going to end at Las Vegas. And that is going to be an exciting championship run through 5 races. Again, the drivers are in their qualifying efforts. I apologize. I'm going to have to hit my Windows key to get my stuff back up here. But the drivers are in their qualifying efforts here tonight. And right now, you can see last week's winner, Dylan Canova, is sitting atop the qualifying board. Brock Morris was fastest in practice, currently right now sitting P2. Kenny Kuko, Nick Baum, JD Van Kirk will round out the top 5. I do know that we have some Van Kirk fans out in the chat. Typically, I know we do. In fact, there's Rachel right there. Thank you for tuning in, Rachel. Wendy Brooks is back. Nice to see you, Miss Brooks. Was down for the count for a few weeks, but the mama's back, she says. Go Jacob Wilson. Shout out your mama. LOL. So, Miss Wendy is in the chat. Welcome in. Rena Bloom is in the chat as well. Let's Go 37 as she is a, oh God, that's Jake, I believe, isn't it? Let me double check and make sure I haven't got all these names. It is Jake Raven, so I just wanted to make sure I got it right. So welcome in, viewers. We're going to be showing off these drivers. They're going to do a couple parade laps once we get out of qualifying and into kind of the warm-up session where they do their drivers meeting, etc. They are going to do a parade lap, and we're going to showcase some of these drivers in their throwback paint schemes. I can tell you, Drafty's in one. I know he is. I know JD Van Kirk is in one. Jorge Ledesma is in one. I believe Zach White is in one. Kenny Kuko, I think, is in one. So we're going to have several throwback schemes that we're going to be taking a look at. But again, I want to put some emphasis on the championship battle because tonight is the last regular season race. And right now, our points leader, and I do not see him signed in right now, Christian Proctor. Oh, crap. I'm sorry, race fans. Jesus, I'm having a night, and I apologize. I do not see Christian signed in. Let me double check. In fact, he is not. So the points leader is not signed in tonight. But he is does have a 20-point lead. So we'll see how that affects the standings moving forward. But that will end qualifying. So we're going to go and we're going to take a look at the qualifying results. And these drivers are going to be in their warm-up. So again, I'm going to try to get over because I know they're supposed to show off. Dun-dun-dun. Let's take a look at the results, the qualifying results, and you can see right there is the qualifying results on the screen. As you can see, Dylan Canova will lay down the quickest time by a mere 1/1000th of a second. That's tight. Him and Brock Morris virtually matching lap time. So Dylan Canova will roll off on pole. Brock Morris, Kenny Kuko, Nick Baum, JD Van Kirk, Matt Baines, Jacob Wilson, Nick Ruffini, Drafty B, Jorge Ledesma Jr., Robert Altman, Zach White, Christian Proctor. Christian is signed in. I didn't think he was. He didn't just lay down a time. That was a problem. And Jake Raven. So we'll cover all that in the starting grid when we get these drivers out here. They're supposed to roll out and showcase their yeah. In fact, there comes a couple of the drivers now. So right there is going to be one of them. It's going to be one of the throwbacks we're going to have. Brock Morris. He's going to start outside pole, and you can see there he comes. He's going to have a beautiful Jeff Gordon DuPont Chevrolet Rainbow Warrior throwback on the side of that machine right there. And then right behind him is going to be the one of Nick Baum. Look at that beautiful looking Superflow. Oh my God, Days of Thunder. Way to go, Nick Baum, dude. That's probably one of the best throwback paints. But I gotta hand it off to JD Van Kirk. That Cartoon Network brings back some nostalgia. The Cartoon Network Scooby-Doo machine just looks absolutely amazing. I remember having this car as a kid growing up, watching racing with my dad and my grandfather. Just absolutely amazing. Nick Ruffini's going to be right behind him and his Dale Earnhardt Jr. throwback, the National Guard Chevy Monte Carlo right there. And then behind him is going to be the 7. And look at this. This is absolutely, if I can get a good look at this paint scheme, I believe, I'm not sure, and I will have to ask Jacob, maybe chat can tell me, I'm not sure who he's throwing back to. I'm getting Gravedigger vibes from that machine. I'm not 100% sure. Let's see who's behind him. It's going to be the 44, Jorge Ledesma Jr., and you can see right there, he's got Elmo up on the hood. What a throwback that one is. That one's absolutely amazing. Drafty's going to be right behind him in his Rusty Wallace Miller Genuine Draft Chevy Monte Carlo. Now, you're used to seeing this on a Ford, but we're going to see it on a Chevrolet tonight, and that's absolutely going to be amazing. Beautiful looking paint scheme there on the side of that machine. And then we have the 71. And where's Kenny? There's Kenny right there. And I believe that this is a throwback to Jimmy Johnson when Jimmy Johnson ran this paint scheme with the Lowe's Home Improvement Power of Pride Chevrolet. So all these cars looks absolutely amazing. I want to say thank you to each one of these drivers for bringing these throwback schemes out here, because I'm going to go through them one more time. And we're going to see them a lot here tonight, race fans. We'll see them a lot tonight. Absolutely beautiful looking machines. And I want to tell you, as a painter, and I don't promote, but I paint for myself and other people. I just don't do it to do it full time. But I want to say it takes a lot of time and effort to put these paint schemes together with the templates, etc., and those types of things. And I just want to say what great looking machines that we have out of these guys. So awesome. I'm pumped about tonight, and I hope you race fans. Jacobs is a Danica throwback. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Sarah. I did not know that. Yeah, I'll have to see the car. I would have to see. I'd have to see the car. But thank you, Sarah, for letting me know. So I'll try to remember that throughout the night. But nonetheless, beautiful looking machines that we're gonna have here at Darlington, and I'm super excited about it. So right now, as we're going to get back into the points talk, because that's really what we need to discuss. When we look at Buffini, Jake, Van Kirk, right now, that is a battle from second to fourth, and it's only separated by 13 points. And so that's going to be a tight battle as we head into the playoffs, and we're going to start those next week, and I'm super excited about that. But the fight from 8th to 12th is tight, and there's only 35 points that separate those 5 drivers. Oh, I got the hiccups. I'm sorry, race fans. Holy. All right. Let's get into the starting grid. Let's get these machines out on the racetrack. And let's have a night. It's going to be a fun one. I've been looking forward to this race since last week, and I'm excited about it. Starting on pole, last week's winner, Dylan Canova. Outside him, driving the number 05 in the Jeff Gordon DuPont throwback. It's going to be the Brock Morris. Starting in the 3rd position, driving the Jimmy Johnson throwback. It's going to be the 71, Kenny Kuko. Starting 4th tonight in his Superflow Days of Thunder throwback. It's going to be the driver of the number 1, Nick Baum. Starting in the 5th position, driving the number 22. And I can't remember who drove this car, but the Cartoon Network throwback is going to be the 22, J.D. Van Kirk. Starting in the 6th position is going to be the driver of the number 72. It's going to be Matt Baines. Starting in the 7th position in his Danica Patrick number 7 throwback, it's going to be Jacob Wilson. Starting in the 8th position, driving the number 04 in his Dale Earnhardt Jr. I believe that's a junior throwback. Is going to be Nick Ruffini. Jorge Ledesma, Drafty Beats in his Miller Lite Rusty Wallace throwback will be starting 9th. Jorge Ledesma Jr. in his throwback is going to be starting in the 10th position. Robert Altman will be starting in the 11th position. Zach White's going to be starting in the 12th position. Christian Proctor will be starting 13th, and Jake Raven will round out the field starting 14th. Let's get back up front. The lights is off. We're ready to go green. It's throwback night here at Darlington, and we are underway in the top tier racing. Tricia's Learning Center Gen 4 Series. That is a tongue twister. That couldn't have been any more of a tongue twister. Canova's going to get out to an early lead here. Brock really putting the pressure on. You can see the wall's already found Nick Baum hard into the outside wall, in his Days of Thunder throwback is the 1 machine. You can see the 04 hard into the wall as well. Some of these drivers finding the wall early. There's 100 laps still to go. We'll get back out front. Dylan Canova's out to about a half-second lead right at the moment. We're going to keep an eye on Nick Baum, see if he has any toe damage on the right front of that machine. Let's see if we can't maybe... There is some damage on the right front. It doesn't appear that he has any toe damage, but we're gonna monitor that throughout the night. One thing that I did notice in practice, race fans, is the fact that these cars were super loose on exit, both ends of the racetrack. You can see Brock Morris is starting to close that gap just a little bit. The front three all right here together. Canova, Morris, Kuko. Kuko has had strong runs, just some bad luck on his side the last little bit. A little bit of a different strategy for Brock Morris, running the more low line. This is a multi-groove track. You can run a little bit of that low line. You can run middle. You can run towards the outside walls. You can see most of them is going to enter low. They're going to drift to the top here in turns 1 and 2, and then try to pinch that exit off right back down to where you can see kind of the stripes there. Well, that was another one. I believe that was Baines that had gotten into the wall there, and in fact, it was. There is going to be Darlington stripes all over these race cars here tonight. The lights is out. The sun's starting to set. 4 laps down. Working lap 5. This race is going to go quick, race fans. Look like the 04 found the wall back there on the exit again. Right there he comes. No harm, no foul. J.D. Van Kirk and his Cartoon Network throwback. So Morris was able to close the gap just a little bit on Canova, but in fact, Canova's actually been able to extend that race lead back out to what's now going to be about a half second. So holding him steady. And in fact, Brock Morris was actually 2/10 quicker that last time by. So there comes Kenny. So Kenny very quickly got around Nick Baum. Again, we're going to monitor, make sure, and see if Nick may have some toe damage on the right front of that car. And if he does, that's going to wear that right front out rather quickly. Matt Baines. There comes Jacob and his throwback. His revved up racing machine, I believe it is. Nick Raffini. JD. There's Drafty. Christian Proctor, current points leader of the series right now. Jorge Ledesma Jr. There's Jake Raven. Jorge must have got really loose off exit there. I'm not 100% sure what happened. Robert Altman in his Ninja Turtles machine. Zach's back here. So still no change out front. Brock is still holding steady, and right now they're matching lap times. Is Brock Morris and Dylan Canova. Oh, Canova hard into the outside wall. You could see the sparks heavy off of that. He's actually going to lose about 2.5 to 3/10 here. Is Brock Morris, and I don't know if you race fans spotted it at home, but when Dylan went into turn 3, he actually picked up about 2.5 tenths. And then I seen why. He just overdrove the entry, and it just pushed plumb into the outside wall on him. So a little bit more conservative entry there. Let's go inside the lap, race fans. I want to watch from the inside of these cars. I want you to see how they tackle this racetrack. Right now we're on board race leader Dylan Canova at the moment. You can see how loose the car is on exit right there. How much counter steer he had to put into the steering wheel to keep the back end of the car from completely stepping all the way around. Not so bad in 3 and 4. Go on board Brock Morris here. So Brock's not really getting up towards the outside wall quite like Dylan is. Brock just being patient. On board Jacob Wilson right now. You can see he's got a couple of machines in front of him. He's trying to work around. It's going to be Matt Baines, Nick Baum directly in front of him. Nick hard into that outside wall. That right front may be gone. Been very patient. It's not overdriving entries, just being patient. 72 into the wall. On board, JD Van Kirk. He's just going to let a couple of these guys go. Just throttling it up. All these cars really loose on exit of turn 2. That's going to be inside the lap, race fans. So I just wanted to show you race fans at home just exactly what these drivers are battling. You can see Canova is still really loose on the exit. These 3 cars right here, about separated by less than a second and a half, is Canova, Morris, and Kuko. And I want to say 17 laps in, about to complete 17. Well, yes, completed 17, now working 18. I want to say that the right rear may not be able to handle much more from Dylan Canova. I mean, he is just all over the right rear of that race car. You can see how much smoother the 0.5 of Brock Morris is right there on the exit. The back end of Canova's car just really wants to step out there. Let's see if we can, let's watch him exit turn 2 here. I'll show you the difference. Let's see if he does it again. So he dives it down in there. Rotates off. Just watch his hands if you can, race fans. See that counter steer back? See that bobble? Now we get back around here. I'm going to show you the same thing on the exit of turn 2 with the 0.5. So he's going to enter here. He's going to enter high. He's going to go low. Drift up the track. Now just watch the difference. See how much more stable that race car is on exit in comparison to race leader Dylan Canova right now? That tells me that Dylan may be using up a little bit more tire. But they always say loose is fast. And you about have to drive these Gen 4 machines right on the edge. So Jacob has actually got around Nick Raffini and Nick Baum. So Jacob's moving forward. He's got himself inside the top 5 currently right now, riding in the 4th position in his Danica throwback. He's got the 0.4 all over him here. This is a hard place to pass at too. You got to really set up a run on the exit of turn 2 to try to set up, you know, a good run off. Try to make a pass really in 3 and 4. He actually might be trying to set it up here on the exit of 4. And he will get to his outside. Let's see if... Yeah, Jacob done a really smart thing right there. Hats off to Jacob, because he just backed off and let the 0-4 just go. You don't want to enter into turn 1 there side by side. That's not where you want to go. Currently right now, the guy on the move, though, up 7 positions, started at the back of the field, is Christian Proctor. That is our current points leader, and you can see he's made up 7 spots. He's currently in the 6th position. Back here's Drafty. I just can't get over JD's car. Race fans at home, I just want you to know how much nostalgia that brings back for me. Just the memories. I remember this car distinctively growing up as a kid. Does anyone else remember the WCW wrestling cars? Like from Monday Nitro, I believe there was an NWO car. Does any of the race fans at home remember those? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat if you remember those. For the viewers at home, you talk about some nostalgia, that will definitely do it. So right now, the last, I'm going to call it 3 laps, Brock Morris has been about 2/10 quicker. He's just not been able to really close the gap. Was out to about 8/10. That car is super loose on exits. I'm telling you, Dylan Canova, last week's race winner at Chicagoland, has elbows up right now. This lap car might slow him down just a little bit. Oh, it's gonna stall Brock though. I seen Brock get hard on the binders right there. Brock is on the move. I want to watch this battle. I want to watch this battle, race fans. That could have been netcode. It looked like he got into the wall. I don't really think he did. Brock was almost 3/10 quicker that last time by. Just shy of 3/10. If you're Brock, you just want to be patient here. You don't want to start overdriving the exits, overdriving the center exits of this racetrack. He's definitely faster in 1 and 2. Turns 1 and 2 is Brock Morris right now. I think Dylan is a little bit faster in 3 and 4. Brock changed it up though. Brock went to the top on entry. Let's see. Was Brock faster that time? In fact, he was by about 1/10. So that little bit of a line adjustment that Brock made, he's going to get a really good exit here because Dylan's going to get really loose. This is going to set up a move for the race lead. Brock Morris on the inside of Canova. Is he going to be able to? He's way down the racetrack. That's the furthest now we've seen anybody run. He's going to lose time from getting down there. He tried to get down there to make the move, just wasn't able to do it. But Brock had a really good run through 1 and 2. With Dylan getting super loose on exit. I think right now overall Brock Morris does have a little bit of a faster race car, but getting around Dylan is going to be difficult. There it is again. There's that bobble again. 32 laps in. Drafty is on pit road right now, so that tells me the pit window is open for these drivers. 31 laps down, working lap 32. I think if the pit window's open right now, Brock has, and he's matched lap times throughout the night, Brock has a little bit faster car. This has allowed Kenny Kuko to really close the gap. Was about 1.5 seconds back was Kuko, and here he comes. Now less than 7/10. So right now the race leaders are under 3/4 of a second separated from each other. And there comes Brock. This is a good move for Brock. If you can execute getting on and off pit road, and this is an awkward pit road to get on and off of, but if you can execute getting on and off pit road, he might be able to jump race leader Dylan Canova. I guarantee you, almost guarantee you, Dylan comes this time. I bet this is going to pull both Dylan and Kuko to pit road. Let's see if it does. Does it look like it's going to pull? Maybe not. This is... And he just got into the wall. This may play out in Brock's favor. We'll see. Kenny right now, Kenny Kuko is a little bit quicker. And there comes Kenny to pit road. I think Dylan's going to have to come to pit road. I know he likes to run a little longer, but I just don't think you can give up that much track time. That much positioning on the track. We've seen how hard it is here to pass. I mean, this is going to give him some fresher tires later in the run. And here he comes to pit road. I think the rest of these drivers are going to have to start coming to pit road too. You just can't give up that much time on the racetrack. Not here. Not with the way the tires wear here. But that is going to turn race lead over to Nick Raffini. Christian Proctor, Jacob Wilson, Jake Raven. JD Van Kirk now coming to pit road. So we're in the midst of green flag stops. Now Brock hit on lap 33, so that tells me he can run a little bit long. So if he comes at 66, that's going to be about 34-ish laps or so. He's going to have to run 35 laps. He'll have to run Will Brock Morris. So he should be able to make it. From what I can see, all the rest of these drivers extending out to laps, say 35, 36. Now we're on 38. Jake Raven, Jacob Wilson, Matt Baines, Jorge Ledesma Jr., Robert Altman. All those guys are still out on the racetrack running. So I don't necessarily think that it's a fuel thing. That's going to turn race lead over to Jacob Wilson. He'll be credited for leading the lap here in a throwback event. Tricia's Learning Center, Gen 4 Series, the top-tier racing league at Darlington. We're in the midst of green flag pit stops, race fans. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we will be right back with all the live racing action from the virtual Darlington Speedway. So right now, the green flag cycles are still taking place right now. Jacob Wilson running further than anybody else has elected to run. And in fact, if he can manage to say get 7 more laps out of this, he very well could one-stop this race. If he could get 7, 8 more laps, he could be looking at a one-stop race. Is Jacob. So we'll keep an eye on his strategy. Right now, some 5 seconds behind him is Matt Baines. Now, we know Brock Morris was the first one down pit road, and in fact, he has since come out in front of Kenny Kuko and Dylan Canova, and by a substantial margin, call it 3.5 seconds over Dylan Canova. And right now, Kenny Kuko, I'm going to call it about 2.5 seconds over top of Dylan Canova. So running long there is actually going to give tire advantage to Dylan Canova. But the problem is, Kenny only pitted 1 lap sooner than Kenny Kuko only pitted 1 lap sooner than Dylan Canova. So Matt Baines has hit pit road. So that being the case, we'll see how that shakes out. But I think right now, barring, we'll just have to see. I mean, there's still a lot of laps left. I'm interested by Jacob's strategy here, because he's holding a 14 right now, about a 14-second lead over Brock Morris. Now that lead is shrinking substantially by each lap, because right now Brock is about 1.25 seconds quicker than Jacob on the racetrack. But again, if Jacob can run this thing long, can get to about lap 50, 51, he could one-stop this race. And that would be an interesting strategy. So we'll see. I seen in the comments, Joshua King says, yes, I remember those. I'm telling you, man, those were some race cars, right? I mean, the throwbacks are just, I love this race. Every year that you know, even on the iRacing service, I enjoy it just to see what drivers can come up with and what they can throw back to. You can see Christian Proctor right here is right behind Dylan Canova. A lot of these guys are trapped a lap down. So everybody from about, and it looks like, I believe Christian's going to get around the race leader. In fact, he does right there. So a lot of these guys are still trying to work on unlapping themselves. Now again, Jacob's running long. He's not going to quite make it to 50, but he will make it to 49. So he's going to need to save about 4 laps of fuel over this next run if he decides he wants to one-stop this race. So he'll pit on 48, coming to 49. That means he'll exit on lap 49, so he'll be right about lap 50. So he'll be nearly at the halfway point, will Jacob Wilson. So I think he's going to really need to save about 3 laps of fuel just to be safe. So we'll keep an eye on his strategy. So for the Wilson fans at home, we're going to keep an eye on that. That will turn the race lead over. However, back to Brock Morris. Again, I talked about this. Dylan elected to run long. You can see Dylan is some almost 2 seconds back. So he's actually made up a little bit of time, has Dylan, but Kenny about 1.5 seconds back. Now again, I think Brock is only going to try to get to about lap 66. I think he's going to try to get to about lap 66, 68 area. That'll give him about 30 to go once he exits pit road. I think that's going to be his target mark. Again, I think Kenny Kuko's thinking the same. I think he's going to be somewhere around lap 70, the same as Canova. Again, that's only going to be a 30-lap march to the finish. Well, 31 if you include the white lap, I guess. But keep an eye on this battle. This is going to be the closest battle right now on the racetrack. The next closest battle is going to be these 2 cars right here. It's going to be Raffini and Proctor. Something happened with Drafty, though. What's he coming back down pit road for? Maybe some hard contact into the wall. I didn't I didn't see anything, so I'm keeping an eye on these two battles here. So right now, we have a battle with Canova and Kuko. We also have a battle with Ruffini and Proctor. Drafty crash? I said Drafty crashed on pit road. That's strange. I'm not sure what happened to him. However, no caution. It was off the racing surface, which means no cautions coming out. We are now over halfway. 52 laps down, now working lap 53. Battle between Kenny Kuko, Dylan Canova right here. The battle between Nick Ruffini, Christian Proctor. Oh, Christian Harden to the wall. He's going to lose a ton of time too. Ruffini will Christian Proctor. It's actually going to allow Jake Raven to close the gap just a little bit. Jake and his liquid death paint schemes. I love that. I love those paint schemes. Oh, this might be a caution. That's a. And in fact, right now there is no caution. Is out. Let's go on board. This is what he sees right now, race fans. You can see it. That's just no caution. The fastest man on the racetrack, though, being patient. Race fans at home, Jacob Wilson. I suspect that we're going to see him try to run this thing out. Again, the last time he was on pit road was just some handful of laps ago. Right now, though, Brock Morris has extended his race lead over Kenny Kuko, so Kenny and Canova still have a little bit of a battle going on, but right now he's extending that race lead out, has Morris to a little over 2.25 seconds now. And then Ruffini. Christian Proctor trying to get it reeled back in, and reel back in. Ruffini is. Hello Kitty. Purple machine. I'm watching lap times for Jacob Wilson, and he's saving. He's going to try to run long here and one stop this race. I guarantee it. We'll keep an eye on that strategy, though. Race fans, I'm probably going to have to stop calling out those strategies. I get so interested in what these drivers do. It's hard not to talk about what they may attempt to do. Right now, Drafty's still sitting on pit road. I think he's taking repairs. We know Nick Baum is taking repairs. JD was on pit road for a very long extended period of time. About 4 minutes and 20-some seconds was he on pit road. Tells me he was taking repairs for some reason. Not 100% sure. This battle here is heating up, though. Canova's going to get around Kenny Kuko. So, again, I know for sure that Brock and Dylan was matching lap times through that first green flag cycle that we had to start this race some 60 laps ago. And, in fact, right now they are still matching lap times. Now, I know Dylan just got around Kenny Kuko, so I want to see what the lap times are once we get back around here. Clean racetrack for both of these drivers. We'll take a look, see what the lap times are. Now, race fans, next week when we start the playoffs, I'll be on a completely different setup. We got a new broadcasting PC to come in, and we're going to be getting that set up and ready to go over the weekend. So I'm taking a look at lap times, and in fact, that last time by, Dylan Canova was about a tenth or so quicker than Brock Morris, and then just, well, that would have been lap 61, but for 60, but then for 61, they matched lap times. So, matching lap times once again. Let's see how this plays out. So I think the pit window is going to open here in about, I'm going to call it 3, 4, 5 laps. 3 to 5 laps is what I'll give it for Brock Morris. That's when I think that he will come down pit road. And then I think somewhere around lap 70, Dylan Canova, Kuko, and the rest of the group is going to start to come to pit road. And then that's when we're really going to see this strategy of Jacob Wilson start to come to light. We'll see if he is, in fact, saving fuel to be able to one-stop this race. That will be a strategy call like no other if he does it. Again, when it cycled out the first time and he ran long and the leaders come down pit road when the pit window opened for the drivers, he held about a 14.5 second lead. Now again, those drivers were about a second or a quarter quicker over the course of the run. So we'll monitor that and see how all that plays out once we get into the green flag cycles. This is going to be a battle for position here. This is Jake Raven and Nick Ruffini. Jake's been on the move. He actually got around Christian Proctor. And he got around Nick Ruffini. So move him to fourth. Jake now up 10 spots. He's the biggest mover on the night. It used to be Christian Proctor, but Jake has found some speed in this car. And to the front, he is headed. So that lead, still about 2.5 seconds. I think somewhere along the line, Dylan lost quite a bit of time somewhere. I'm not 100% sure. So I believe the pit window is open for Brock. And there he comes. You can hear him downshifting. So lap 67. The pit window's open. He'll be able to get to the finish here. He's going to be the first one on pit road. He'll be the first one off pit road. And here comes Dylan right behind him. So now Dylan's matched. So instead of running long, or a little bit longer like he did the first cycle, he's going to match, and Kenny Kuko as well. So all three drivers coming in at the same time, first, second, and third. So quite the change of events from what these guys ran. Actually, this stop out of Canova and Kuko surprises me just a little bit. But they seen how much time they lost when Brock come down pit road and how positions flipped. That's going to turn race lead over to Jake Raven, Christian Proctor, Nick Ruffini. That'll be the new first, second, and third. Now, we know these guys are going to have to make a pit stop, so for you Wilson fans at home, don't worry. This will all play out. We'll see how it shakes out when it does. But this is going to be an interesting... This is going to be interesting. That means that Brock, Dylan, you can see he comes right out on top of him. Kenny, virtually matching pit stop times. Dylan overall was better in the pits, was better entering and exiting pit road by about a half second. So these drivers are going to have about 30 laps to see how this cycle shakes out. Now see, there comes Jacob, and then there comes Brock. So I want to see how this plays out. So Jake Raven's now on pit road. Christian Proctor's now hitting pit road. Nick Ruffini also hitting pit road. Nick may get a black flag here. I don't know if he made the commitment zone back there. We'll have to keep an eye on that. He may have. It's interesting nonetheless. That'll turn race lead over currently right now to Matt Baines. Jacob Wilson will be second, but the problem for Jacob is with this strategy is he now has Brock Morris, Dylan Canova all right there behind him, those two. And they're going to be on about 20 lap fresher tires. And here comes Brock looking to the inside. Dylan's going to run the middle. So this is going to be the battle for the lead once these green flag cycles play out, race fans. So right now they're second and third. Matt will probably hit pit road. He was last on pit road at 44. I don't think it's going to really matter. I think the leaders, provided they have about 23 lap fresher tires, they're going to catch him in no time. Now, let's see what happens here because Christian Proctor has fresh tires too. Brock's going to have to make a smart move here. He tried to use a lap car to pinch Dylan. Dylan's going to get the run on the outside. New race leader, Dylan Canova. We're going to be getting close to 25 laps to go. These guys, it's matched lap times about all night long. I think if you're Brock, that was worst case scenario. Catching Christian Proctor and the race leader, Matt Baines, at that point in an almost 3 wide situation, I think was worst case scenario for the 0-5. So as the cycles play out, Dylan Canova, Brock Morris, Jacob Wilson right there. Now Jacob holds about 6 seconds over top of Kenny Kuko. So while it might not be the strategy call to win the race, very well could be the strategy call to take home the podium. So we'll see how that shakes out. And then also, too, a caution could change every single bit of that. So we've not had one tonight. Been close. Jake Raven was on the hunt, though. He's going to have about 4 lap fresher tires than the leaders in front of him. Currently, right now, riding P5. Christian Proctor, Jorge Ledesma Jr. is now on pit road. Matt just getting off pit road. Nick Ruffini, Zach White, J.D. Van Kirk. Nick Baum, Drafty Steele down here on pit road. This battle is going to be intense between these two gentlemen right here. So we're going to take another quick commercial break, and then we'll get back with about 20 to go here. We'll call this race to the end as the battle for the race lead is heating up between Canova and Morris. 19 laps to go. The battle still is for the race lead right now. That's going to be between Dylan Canova, Brock Morris. Brock lost a little bit of time the last couple laps. Has fell back to about a half second. Now, up until that point, they was matching lap times, virtually 29.9s respectively for both drivers. And in fact, this time, Dylan was about a 10th quicker. So we're going to keep an eye on this battle. Let's look. Kenny Kuko's actually got around Jacob Wilson. Let's drop Jacob back to 4th. And Jake Raven's some distance behind Jacob, so I think it's hard to pass on fresh tires. I'm seeing about a 1.5-ish to almost 2 seconds in tire fall off from the beginning of a run to the end of the run. So right now, Dylan Canova looking to go back-to-back, make it his 4th win on the season. Very rapidly approaching the end of this race. Again, this is the part, this is about the time where we know Dylan had battled a loose race car all race long. Getting really loose off the exit of turn 2. I seen it that last lap. Let's see if it happens again. It was a lot smoother that time. In fact, Brock has since moved up the racetrack. I think both drivers may have gotten into the wall. You can see that's the distance between the two drivers. This is the next closest battle we have on the racetrack. This is going to be between Jake Raven and Christian Proctor. And there comes race leaders Dylan Canova and Brock Morris right behind those two gentlemen, looking to put those two guys a lap down. Not sure that they'll get Christian. They seem to be matching lap times, this Christian and the race leaders, so last time by, Brock Morris was a little bit quicker. He had been faster in the turns 1 and 2 portion of the racetrack. Dylan was a little bit faster in the 3 and 4 portions of the racetrack. That time by a 30-25, 30-26, matching virtually lap times. Definitely some net coding, it looks like. At least with the contact with the wall anyway, because I know from that shot he definitely did not get into the wall. Well, 10 laps to go this time, race fans. Race leader Dylan Canova, Brock Morris, Kenny Kuko, Jacob Wilson, Jake Raven, Christian Proctor still battling out back here for 5th, 6th. Jorge Ledesma Jr. in 7th, Matt Baines 8th, Nick Raffini 9th, Robert Altman 10th, Zach White 11th, JD Van Kirk 12th, Nick Baum 13th. Drafty still setting on pit road. This lead still holds at about 3/4 of a second. Dylan might actually be starting to extend it out here just a little bit. Let's get back to this battle. Christian's actually lost a little bit of time to Jake Raven. Christian actually a threat of going a lap down here. Doesn't look like that's going to bother race leader Dylan Canova at all. Dylan was hard into the outside wall there. He's distanced himself about 1.25 seconds out. Jacob's still holding on. Still holding on to the top 5. Now you can see there comes race leader Dylan Canova. In front of him is Jake Raven. Now, if Jake gets there within the next 6 laps, that'll be a battle for position for Jacob Wilson right now. Still holding currently on to 4th. A big bobble out of the 70 machine there. Brock was 0.2 faster that time with 4 laps to go. That's not going to be quite enough. He's going to need to be substantially quicker than that. That lead down to about 1 second now. Let's see if he was faster this time. Yeah, only by about 0.5 tenths. 3 laps to go. The lead is under 1 second. Wilson hard into the wall there. Now see, this is a battle for position for Wilson and Raven. So what's these guys do with race leader Dylan Canova right behind them? Because these guys are still battling for position. It's Wilson and Raven, so points matter, and because points matter, trying to make that playoff run, or the championship run rather. The white flag is out. 1 lap to go here at the Top Tier Racing. Tricia's Learning Center Gen 4 Series at Darlington. In what's been an outstanding night. You can see race leader Dylan Canova right there. In the shot is Brock Morris, but he's going to have 2 lap cars right between them. That's all but going to solidify 2 in a row. Win number 4 will be Dylan Canova. Will find victory lane. Brock Morris will bring it home 2nd. Kenny Kuko looking to bring it home 3rd. And I believe Jacob Wilson's going to end up 4th over top of Jake Raven to round out the top 5. What an amazing race. It was actually a fun one. These drivers had their hands full here tonight, I can tell you that for sure. while the race leader gets up here to burn them down. Has all the momentum that you need heading into a playoff run, into a championship run, does Dylan Canova, making it now 2 in a row. And there is the race results. Dylan Canova by about 3/4 of a second. Brock Morris, Kenny Kuko, Jacob Wilson, Jake Raven. That rounds out the top 5. Christian Proctor, Matt Baines, Jorge Ledesma Jr., Nick Raffini, Robert Altman. That's going to be 6th through 10th. Zach White, J.D. Vankirk, Nick Baum, and Drafty. That will round out 11th through 14th. So we're going to see if we can get these drivers in here. We're going to talk to them. It's going to be Kenny Kuko, Brock Morris, Dylan Canova. Kenny, it's Brandon up in the booth. You got a copy?
I got you, man.
I tell you what, brother, what about a 3rd place run, right? You showed speed early, just battled a loose race car, found the wall a couple of times. Of course, if you don't leave Darlington with a Darlington stripe, then you obviously didn't do it right. But overall, some really good momentum heading into what will start the championship round next week and a solid 3rd place finish here at Darlington.
Yeah, definitely can't complain. Was running right there with the top 2, and then I missed pit road on my 2nd stop, so I had to go around. Lost 9 seconds, and so I think I probably could have hung right there with those guys. But yeah, happy to finish the regular season off P3. I think I might move up 1 spot in the chase, so that would give me 1 extra point going into the playoffs. So that was really the goal. But yeah, just great night for everybody. We went all 100 laps green, and proud of everybody.
So at the completion of the night, if you was to make up that the points needed to slide yourself into what would be 4th. Now we're going to be heading into, I believe, Michigan next week. That's going to start our championship round. When you look at the schedule, though, you're gonna follow Michigan up, I believe, with Road America. So take me through what would be your championship hunt for the next 5 races.
Yeah, I think the biggest curveball in that one's definitely going to be Road America. I love that track. I picked it. I've never raced on it, though, for iRacing. Especially, it's a lot different animal when you bring these Gen 4s to a road course. They are so unstable. So that itself is like a Talladega. That thing's going to be a wild card. That's just going to be, try your best to survive. And then obviously Michigan starting off next week. I love Michigan. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm sure the car will be hung out. We'll be slipping and sliding. Again, Charlotte's going to be another great one. Really stoked for Bristol. It's one of my favorites. And then, finishing it off at Vegas. I think it's going to be a pretty fun championship run. We'll just try to keep the car in one piece and see where we end up. We got some work to do to catch up with Dylan's long run speed, so I'll probably try to do some extra practice.
Well, congratulations nonetheless, man, for a solid 3rd place finish. And by the way, the paint scheme looked amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I was a lifelong Jimmy Johnson fan, so I thought it was cool to find something. I think that was a 2004 paint scheme, which this car's a 2003. So I tried to find something cool that was close enough, and always love repping the red, white, and blue.
Well, man, I'm sure you have friends, some family, maybe some sponsors you'd like to thank. So go ahead, take the time, give everybody a shout out, man, and enjoy this 3rd place as we head to Michigan next week.
Yeah, man, I got to thank you for putting on a great show for us, for all our friends and families to watch. Everyone on the admin side, JD, Drafty, Nick, of course my team over at Revved Up, Jake Wilson's the team boss, and then you got Dylan Knobos is our manager, and just thankful to have those guys on my side. Other than that, yeah, just everyone who helps out and makes all this possible, all our contingency sponsors for what they do and have continued to do for us. And yeah, other than that, we'll try to go get us a championship.
Well, congratulations, man. I look forward to seeing you next week when we head into Michigan. We start the championship round, and enjoy that 3rd place finish, brother.
Yeah, thanks, man. Hey, one quick little last thing.
Sure.
Proctor joined in the top 3 booth. He was wondering if he could get an interview for regular season champion. So if you don't mind, that would be cool.
Yeah, let him know. I will interview him last since he is a regular season champ.
Sounds good, brother. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, buddy. That is your third place finisher right there in Kenny Kuko. And you heard exactly what he said. You know, we got to go back, get back to work, maybe put in some extra practice, find that little bit long run speed that we've been looking for. Let's bring in our second place finisher tonight. An absolutely amazing run in his DuPont throwback. Brock, this is Brendan up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do, Brendan. How you doing?
I'm great, man, and I'm probably not. I want to say I'm probably doing a little bit better than you. This one probably hurts. I think that you overall had a little bit better car than what Canova had. You actually got on an off pit road that first green flag cycle. Yeah, you went a couple laps earlier than I say it that way. You went a couple laps earlier than the rest of the field decided to come. That was able to jump you, and you was able to hold that lead. But then just an unfortunate, what would have been a 3-wide situation, I think really is what costed you the lead. And then it just was just hard to make up from that point. So take me through your night in this second place finish.
Yeah, I think you pretty much got it there. Yeah, car felt real good. Corn Dog Designs throwback. Yeah, Darlington's one of my favorites. I felt like I had pretty good long run pace, which, is unusual. I feel like I've worked on that quite a bit, and that used to be something I struggled at, but now I feel pretty good about. Yeah, it kind of got weird there. I knew I needed to prioritize tires over fuel, so I was like, hey, I'm going to split this into 3 runs. So pit it right like lap 33, trying to split it up. That worked out pretty well. They figured out pretty quick what I was doing and then jumped onto that strategy too. So kind of lost a strategic advantage there, which I was hoping for, since I know, like I said, kind of the long run stuff usually doesn't fare out well for me. But yeah, it was that last 3 wide thing. I mean, it's just one of those racing deals. Got cars entering, exiting pit lane. It's Darlington, so you got some cars that are, have a 2 or 3 second delta per lap. So yeah, it was overall, I thought it was a pretty good run though.
Yeah, I absolutely 100%. I mean, I kept an eye on you throughout the night. I would watch, lap times. I monitored those pretty heavy. So if you do go back and watch, you'll find that you were actually a little bit better on the longer run portion of things, or at least, through the first run, you was, and then kind of matched really from the rest of the time. And with Darlington being tough to pass, that 3-wide situation just kind of was an untimely deal. But overall, a solid second place finish and nothing really to hang the head over.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say it's something to build on.
So, I don't think. Are you going to make the playoffs? Are you going to be able to make the championship run? I'm not sure where you stack up in points.
Yeah, unless they had a wild card, I don't think so. So, unfortunately, not going to see me running for a championship.
But I can expect to see you next week when we're rolling to Michigan chasing checkered flags, though, right?
Yes, sir. That's my home track. So, got to do it for the boys up here.
And well, listen, just because you may not necessarily have enough races or enough points to make the championship round doesn't mean you can't go chase checkers. I mean, that's the way I always see it.
Absolutely, yeah. That's the goal.
That's it, man. Well, listen, congratulations on that second place finish. I'm sure you got some friends, family, maybe some sponsors you like to shout out, man. So I know Corn Dog Designs is one of them, right? So do them shout outs, man. Enjoy that second place finish.
Yes, sir. Corn Dog Designs. You saw a couple of the throwback schemes there with Jacob D. Wilson had one. Marty Ledesma had one. So if you want a beautiful scheme like the one you saw me driving tonight or anybody else, let me know. Send me a Discord DM and I can hook you up. I'd like to thank Kettering Esports, Revved Up Racing. I'm hanging out with those boys for this season. And yeah, my mom and dad.
Well, congratulations, man, on that second place finish, and we'll see you next week at Michigan.
All right, we'll see you.
And that is our second place finisher, is Brock Morris. And what an absolutely amazing night he had in that DuPont throwback. Let's see if we can get Dylan in here. Dylan, it's Brandon up in the booth. You got a copy? Dylan, it's Brandon in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, he is. Well, listen, I think we're getting used to this, me and you. This is now 2 weeks in a row you've been able to do this and come up here and do a Victory Lane interview. I'm running out of questions to ask you, I think. Great night. Brock had a strategy to come a couple laps earlier on that first green flag run. And then you, Kuko both pitted right behind him the second, green flag stop. And then that 3 white situation that really looked like it cost Brock a lot of time, you was able to set up that move to get around. And then from that point, just eyes down, head down, and go to work, right? To claim what would be now 2 in a row in your 4th win of the season.
Yeah, it was definitely when I saw that little battle of, I don't know who it was in front of him right there, and he just going to the bottom. I was like, this is the chance, because it's just so difficult to pass here. So if you don't get them to get somebody to make a mistake, or they don't get put in a spot they don't want to be in, it's super hard to pass once you're out front. So once I saw that, I was like, hey, we got to go for it and just hold him off. If you could hold him off for that first lap or so, the dirty air is just brutal here, is what it does to the front tires. So it worked out. I think that pit entry is the difference there. I think we were just over 2 seconds back whenever we were coming down the back straightaway before pitting, and we ended up actually exiting pit road ahead of him. So I think that's where the difference was made, and then just kind of lucked into that battle of lap cars in front of us.
So when I look at the schedule, we're going to be heading into Michigan to start our championship round, and I know you're one of those contenders, right? I think you're going to be able to maybe move up maybe a couple spots. I'm not really sure. So you was at 358 coming into the night, and I'm not really sure how the point structures played out here. But however, nonetheless, you are a championship contending driver when we start at Michigan next week, and then from there we're going into Road America, and then we're going to pick up Charlotte, Bristol, Las Vegas. What's the goal going into these next 5 races to position yourself to win a championship here in the top tier racing league?
Yeah, so I think the points are reset, and it's 5 bonus points per win. So you'll get everybody that's in the playoff starts at 0, and they get 5 points per win. So I don't know what the regular season championship is for as far as bonus points, but we'll basically either cycle to first or second based on where the playoff points, and we'll have a 5-point buffer over a couple cars, up to 20 points on some others. So we're in a good spot going in. I think the main thing is just maximize the points at the 4 ovals, because you can't count on the road course for anything. I can run good on a road course, and I can run really bad on a road course. So I can't count on anything there. We started off the playoffs last season, I believe, at Michigan, went out and won, and that started the sweep of the playoffs. So I think just got to carry the momentum. We're getting hot at the right time. Hopefully Michigan, we get a good car and have some good racing, get a chance to park in a victory lane again, get some more points, and just try and survive the road course when it comes. I'm good at Michigan, decent at Charlotte. I haven't really run much in these cars at Charlotte. Really good at Vegas, and Bristol should be good there. So as long as we can survive the road course, we should have a good shot.
Well, congratulations, man, on 2 in a row, and you're absolutely correct, right? I've talked about it, earlier tonight when I started pre-race. That big win you had last week at Chicagoland to make it 3, and then now back to back here this weekend, this evening to make it now 4 in a row, and just catching the right heat at the right time. So I'm certain that you got some friends, some family, maybe some sponsors you'd like to shout out, man, and then give them a shout out and enjoy this victory, and be ready for the playoffs when we head to Michigan next week.
Yeah, I got to thank you and Royalty Racing Network for giving all the fans that are out there a place to watch the race, and being here, all the admins for giving us a place to race, Tricia's Learning Center for obviously sponsoring the series, everybody over at Hyperspeed. It's been great getting to know those guys throughout the season, so maybe we can get a championship for them. Obviously, all my buddies and good friends back at Revved Up Racing, that's ultimately my primary home. That's who I race for everything else. So got to give a shout out to those guys, and Brock for that. That was a good battle, made it interesting. And then Victory Fuel, Forced by Dittis, Circle W Farms, 5-6 Graphics, just everybody who makes it possible.
All right, man. Congratulations on now 2 in a row, and I will see you next week when we head into the hills of Michigan.
Yeah, see you there. Hopefully another interview in Victory Lane.
We'll see you then, Bubba. Thank you. And that will be race winner Dylan Canova. And fans, we're going to bring in our regular season points champion. Coming into tonight, had a 20-point lead over what was second place Nick Raffini. Christian, it's Brandon up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, you got me?
I got you, buddy. So you was able to hang on to the regular season championship. Next week, we're going to start our championship run for 5 races, beginning at Michigan. So take us through the regular season, locking up the regular season championship, and then the goals going into next week, and then the championship run.
So I think I kind of proved you don't got to win a lot of races to win the regular season championship, at least to be up there. Going in this season, I didn't really have too high expectations with the car. Really wasn't too familiar with it since it was new on iRacing. Didn't think I was going to be good with it at all, and kind of just stay consistent throughout the season. Ran top 3 a couple races, top 5 most of the time, but yeah, I was just planning on going out there tonight and keeping it clean and finishing the race.
Yeah, there was times to where throughout the event I would check in on you. You would have a bad fast race car. You'd close up on the bumper of Jake Raven there, and then something would happen, maybe a little contact with the wall or whatever, maybe a loose exit, and just wasn't able to ultimately get him around him from another position. But at times throughout the night, you showed you had some speed.
Yeah, once you really get up on the back of a car here, it's like a parachute, man. It slows you down a lot. I was got a good groove, running by myself out there for a little bit, and then as soon as I would catch somebody, it would just throw me off for some reason. I don't know if the car was just pushing too much or what it was, but I couldn't get around anybody hardly.
So the goals now is going to have to change a little bit, right? We're going to be heading into a 5-round championship hunt. We're going to go to Michigan, and then from there we're going to Road America, Charlotte, Bristol, Las Vegas to end. What's the preparation like, with a car that you're somewhat unfamiliar with, what's the preparation like now that you are the regular season champion and in a championship hunt?
So I'm not too worried about road courses. I'm pretty good at road courses. Honestly, if Brock doesn't show up to road courses, I'm almost a guaranteed win. But Brock's so quick on road courses. He's quick on oval. I think I'll do pretty good at Michigan. Bristol, I'm probably going to struggle at 100%. I'm really bad at the shorter tracks and all that. But I think if I can just stay consistent, make it to the end, I got a fair chance at it.
Fair enough, brother. Well, listen, I'm certain that you maybe have friends, family, maybe even some sponsors you'd like to shout out and taking home that regular season championship.
Man, honestly, I couldn't do it without my team, man. Mid-tier Racing, Jeremy, our team owner, he convinced me to run this season again, and glad he did. I'm up here on top right now, and couldn't thank the team enough.
All right, brother. Well, listen, enjoy that regular season championship, and we'll see you next week when we head into the Irish Hills of Michigan.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
And that is your regular season champion in Christian Proctor. Well, race fans, that's going to be it for me tonight. Next week, we kick off our championship run starting at Michigan, where Proctor, Canova, Kuko and company, they're going to be headed in there, and the battle is going to change. We'll have all the points and the way that they play out when we start the pre-race at Michigan. But until next time, I will see you all then. Everyone, have a good night. I'll see you next week at Michigan. Good night, everybody.